Fortunately, to acquire rationality is not complicated. It simply requires knowing and working through a three-step process. First, we must become aware of what we shall call low-grade irrationality. This is a function of continued moods and feelings that we experience in life below the level of consciousness. When we plan or make decisions, we are not aware of how deeply these moods and feelings skew the thinking process. They create in our thinking pronounced biases that are so deeply ingrained in us that we see evidence of them in all cultures and all periods of history. These biases, by distorting reality, lead to the mistakes and ineffective decisions that flag our lives. Being aware of them, we can begin to counterbalance their effects. Second, we must understand the nature of what we shall call high-grade irrationality. This occurs when our emotions become inflamed, generally because of certain pressures. As we think about our anger, excitement, resentment, or suspicion, it intensifies into a reactive state. Everything we see or hear is interpreted through the lens of this emotion. We become more sensitive and more prone to other emotional reactions. Impatience and resentment can bleed into anger and deep distrust. These reactive states are what lead people to violence, to many obsessions, to uncontrollable greed, or to desire to control another person. This form of irrationality is the source of more acute problems, crises, conflicts, disastrous decisions. Understanding how this type of irrationality operates can allow us to recognize the reactive state that is happening and pull back before we do something we regret. Third, we need to enact certain strategies and exercises that will strengthen the thinking part of the brain and give it more power in the eternal struggle with our emotions. Emotions are continually affecting our thought processes and decisions below the level of our awareness. And the most common emotion of them all is the desire for pleasure and the avoidance of pain. Our thoughts are almost inevitably born around this desire. We simply recoil from entertaining ideas that are unpleasant or painful to us. We imagine we are looking for the truth or being realistic, when in fact we are holding on to ideas that bring a release from tension and soothe our egos, make us feel superior. This applies a principle in thinking is the source of all of our mental biases. If you believe that you are somewhat immune to any of the following biases, it is simply an example of the Plaza principle in action. Instead, it is best to search and see how they continually operate inside you. As a result, learn how to identify such irrationality in others. Confirmation bias. I look at the evidence and arrive at decisions through more or less rational processes. But because of the Plaza principle and its unconscious influence, we manage to find evidence that confirms what we want to believe. This is known as confirmation bias. In the end, the people want to hear their own ideas and preferences and confirmed by an expert opinion. They will interpret what you say in light of what they want to hear, and if your advice runs counter to their desires, they will find some way to dismiss your opinion, your so-called expertise. The more popular the person, the more they are subject to this form of confirmation bias. When investigating confirmation biases in the world, take a look at the original that seem a little too good to be true. Conviction bias. I believe in this idea so strongly, it must be true. Those, on the other hand, who express nuances, whose tone is more hesitant, reveal weakness and self-doubt. They are probably lying, or so we think. These biases make us susceptible to salesmen and demagogues who display conviction as a way to convince and deceive. They know that people are hungry for entertainment, so they clock and they have truths and with dramatic effects. Appearance bias. I understand the people at their word. I see them just as they are. We see people not as they are, but as they appear to us. And these appearances are usually misleading. First, people have trained themselves in social situations to present a front that is inappropriate and that will be judged positively. They seem to be in favor of noblest causes, always presenting themselves as hardworking and conscientious. We take these masks for reality. Second, we are prone to fall for the halo effect. When we see certain negative or positive qualities in a person, social awareness, intelligence, other positive or negative qualities are implied that fit with us. People are good looking, generally seem more trustworthy, and particularly politicians. If a person is successful, we imagine they are probably also ethical, conscientious, and deserving of their good fortune. This obscures the fact that many people who have gotten ahead done so through less than moral actions. We stay cleverly disguised from view. The group bias. My ideas are my own. I do not listen to the group. I'm not a conformist. We are social animals by nature. The feeling of isolation, of different from the group, is depressing and terrifying. We experience it tremendously when we find others who think the same way we do. In fact, we are motivated to take up ideas and opinions because they bring us in this relief. We are unaware of this pull, and so imagine we have come to certain ideas and are completely on our own. Yet few would ever admit this influence on their thought patterns. The blame bias. I learn from experience and mistakes. Mistakes and failures at least need to explain. We want to learn the lesson and not repeat the experience. But in truth, we do not like to look too closely at what we did. Our introspection is limited. Our natural response is to blame others, circumstances, or momentary lapse of judgment. The reason for these biases is that it is often too painful to look at our mistakes. It calls into question our feelings of superiority. It pokes at our ego. Desires and emotion will blind us yet again, and we will repeat exactly the same mistake and go through the same mild, recriminating process and following by the forgetfulness until we die. Superiority bias. I'm different. I'm more rational than others, more ethical as well. Few to say this in people in conversation. It sounds arrogant. But in numerous opinion polls and studies, we asked to compare themselves with others. People generally express an variation of this. It is equivalent of an optical illusion. It cannot seem to see our faults, irrationalities, only those of others. We know, however, the reality, and some people, perhaps all of us, are merely deceiving ourselves. Rational and ethical qualities must be achieved through awareness and effort. They do not come naturally. They come through a maturation process. Beware the inflaming factors. Low-grade emotions continue to obstruct our thinking, and they originate from our own impulses. For instance, the desire for pleasing and comforting thoughts.